Today, we're diving into BioShock, the story of Rapture, a city built on freedom, brilliance, and pure arrogance. It was meant to be a paradise beneath the sea, but instead, it became a graveyard for human ambition. Let's dive in. It all begins with a man named Andrew Ryan. Born in Russia, he escaped the chaos of the communist revolution and the moral decay of capitalist societies. He saw the world above the waves and found it rotten, full of compromise, corruption, and weakness. He believed that true greatness could only exist in total freedom. No government, no gods, no morality to hold back human ambition. Ryan's vision was radical, almost impossible. He wanted a city that existed entirely on its own terms, a society where the talented, the brilliant, and the ambitious could flourish without interference, a place untouched by politics, religion, or the petty squabbles of the surface world, a utopia born not from compromise, but from absolute liberty. In 1946, he began construction on a city at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. He called it Rapture. Hidden from the world above, powered by the natural vents of the ocean floor, it was designed to be a marvel. Skyscrapers of Art Deco grandeur rose from the seabed. Residential districts, theaters, casinos, laboratories, and luxury hotels, everything was meticulously planned to accommodate the elite and to demonstrate the possibilities of freedom without constraint. Scientists like Brigid Tenenbaum, whose genius in genetics promised the future of human evolution. Artists like Sander Cohen, whose creativity knew no bounds, even if his mind teetered on madness. Inventors and entrepreneurs, the people who, in Ryan's mind, represented the pinnacle of human achievement. They were to build a city that proved his philosophy, that a man could live without masters and achieve greatness. Rapture's golden age seemed unstoppable. Yet, as history shows, when you remove laws and ethics, chaos finds a way to flourish. Freedom without guidance can be intoxicating, and ambition unchecked can turn toxic. The city was beautiful, dazzling even, but the seeds of its downfall were already planted beneath its marble floors and gilded halls. By the early 1950s, Rapture was fully operational. Its citizens reveled in the possibilities of life without rules. Scientists pursued experiments that would have been impossible on the surface. Artists created works so bold they would have been censored anywhere else. Entrepreneurs built fortunes unimaginable. Every corner of the city reflected the limitless potential of human innovation and the fragility of the dream upon which it was built. Ryan's vision was not just about freedom, it was about proving a point. He believed that society above the ocean had stifled potential, that governments, religions, and social norms had turned humanity into weak, dependent creatures. In Rapture, he said, the strong would thrive and the weak would fail. But in failing, they would not destroy the city. They would simply fall away, leaving the extraordinary to shape a true civilization. But even in the early days, there were warnings. While the city gleamed, the human mind is unpredictable. Ambition, ego, and desire for power do not disappear simply because a man builds a perfect city. Rapture was free, yes, but it was still filled with humans. Humans with flaws. Humans who could not resist temptation. Humans who, given unlimited opportunity, would push the boundaries of morality in ways Ryan had not anticipated. Ryan's greatest achievement and his greatest weakness were intertwined. The city's freedom attracted brilliance, but it also attracted greed and obsession. Wealthy elites competed for dominance, scientists pushed ethical boundaries, artists sought notoriety at the expense of sanity. Every human flaw that had been repressed or punished on the surface was amplified in the pressure cooker of Rapture. And that is how the story of Rapture truly begins. Not with war, not with monsters, but with the dreams of a believed he could outsmart human nature itself. A man who wanted to prove that with enough freedom, humanity could transcend its weaknesses and create something extraordinary. The story of Rapture takes a darker turn with a discovery that would change the city forever. Scientists like Brigid Tenenbaum were exploring the strange life forms of the ocean depths when they stumbled upon something extraordinary, a sea slug that produced a substance unlike anything the world had ever seen. They called it Atom. Atom was more than a simple genetic compound. It was a key to rewriting the very fabric of human DNA. With it, a person could alter their physical abilities, enhance intelligence, or even gain powers that seemed impossible by the laws of nature. Strength, agility, and mental acuity, all could be engineered at will. It was a discovery with limitless potential and unlimited danger. Soon, Adam was refined into a substance that could be injected, sold, and marketed. Bright, glowing syringes called plasmids promised evolution at a price. Citizens of Rapture eagerly embraced them. Artists sought to enhance their creativity. Entrepreneurs sought physical perfection. The ambitious sought power. Every injection carried the allure of something greater than themselves. But with every gift came a curse. Adam was addictive, and its effects altered more than just the body. Minds began to warp, morality eroded, families fractured, friends turned on each other. People who'd once been the pinnacle of civilization were now twisted, both physically and mentally, into something unrecognizable. Splicers, as they came to be known, became a terrifying manifestation of obsession unchecked. It was during this time that Frank Fontaine rose from the shadows. Fontaine was a man of charm, cunning, and ambition. He understood the lure of Adam in a way Ryan never fully did. While Ryan saw the substance as a scientific marvel, Fontaine saw currency, power, and influence. Through his company, Fontaine Futuristics, he gained control over the Adam trade, secretly distributing it to the city's poorer districts, while Ryan's policies kept him at bay. Fontaine's influence grew quietly at first. The wealthy lived in marble towers, oblivious to the undercurrents of rebellion beneath them. The poor, addicted to Adam and feeling neglected, began to rally around the promises of Atlas, a mysterious figure who offered equality, revolution, and hope. It was the perfect facade. Fontaine's cunning allowed him to manipulate the masses, turning dissatisfaction into loyalty, chaos into a tool for his own gain. Meanwhile, the city's scientific community continued to push boundaries without restraint. Tenenbaum and Yi Suchong explored ways to mass produce Adam. They turned to orphaned girls, genetically modifying them to become living vessels capable of harvesting and producing the substance. These children, known as Little Sisters, were innocent in appearance but engineered for a single, dark purpose. To protect them, the Big Daddies were created. Humans encased in massive, armored diving suits bonded to a little sister for life. These towering guardians patrolled the halls of Rapture, ready to defend their charges against anyone who might try to interfere. Their presence was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a symbol of the extremes to which the city's science had gone. As the population's obsession with Adam grew, so did the tension between Ryan and Fontaine. Ryan, committed to his vision of a city free from corruption, viewed Fontaine as a parasite, a man exploiting human weakness for personal gain. Fontaine, in turn, saw Ryan's rigid ideals as a threat to his ambitions. Their rivalry would escalate into something that threatened the entire city. But even before open conflict, the signs of decay were everywhere. The once brilliant citizens of Rapture were losing themselves to obsession. Splicers roamed the streets, their twisted forms a testament to addiction and mutation. Families were torn apart by jealousy and greed. The city's gleaming Art Deco facades hid the shadows of human weakness festering beneath. Rapture was no longer a city of freedom. It had become a city on the edge, poised between greatness and ruin, ambition and destruction. The seeds of chaos had been sown, and the tide of obsession and power was beginning to swell. Fontaine's influence, Adam's corruption, and the city's unchecked ambition were converging in ways that would soon explode into open war. This was the turning point, the moment when the dream of Rapture began to twist into a nightmare. The city that promised freedom and greatness was becoming a crucible of addiction, violence, and manipulation. And at the heart of it all were two men, locked in a struggle of ideology and ambition. Andrew Ryan, the idealist who believed in the power of human freedom, and Frank Fontaine, the opportunist who understood how to exploit human weakness better than anyone. Rapture's story was no longer just about a city. It was about human nature itself, our desires, our flaws, and the consequences of giving ourselves absolute freedom without restraint. And it was here, in this city teetering on the edge of chaos, that the next chapter of BioShock would begin. By the time Jack reached the heart of Rapture, the city was a graveyard. The lights still glowed, the music still played in empty lounges, but there was no one left to listen. The ocean pressed in on the glass like a reminder that everything humans build eventually sinks. Atlas kept guiding Jack, always polite, always saying the same phrase, "Would you kindly?" It sounded harmless, like good manners in a world gone mad. But as Jack followed command after command, killing splicers, hacking turrets, and hunting down Ryan's loyalists, something started to feel mechanical, too obedient, too exact. And then came the truth. As Jack descended deeper into Hephaestus, Rapture's power core, he finally came face to face with Andrew Ryan, the man who built the city, now a ghost of his former self, pacing in his office surrounded by shattered relics of his idealism. Ryan looked at Jack not with fear, but with bitter amusement. He already knew what Jack didn't. Ryan explained that Jack wasn't a man who stumbled into Rapture by accident. He was born there, created as part of Fontaine's plan years before the war, grown from genetic material engineered to age rapidly and conditioned through a series of trigger phrases. Most importantly, would you kindly? Fontaine sent him to the surface as a sleeper agent, waiting for the right moment to return and finish the job. Jack wasn't a savior. He was a weapon. Ryan proved it in the most brutal way possible. He stood there, calm and composed, holding a golf club, and forced Jack to see the truth. A man chooses, he said, a slave obeys. He repeated the phrase as he handed Jack the club. Would you kindly kill? And Jack did. He beat Andrew Ryan to death with that club, unable to stop himself. It was one of the most chilling scenes in gaming history, because it wasn't just a character being manipulated, it was you, the player. You'd been following orders the whole time, thinking you had agency, only to realize you were never choosing at all. After Ryan's death, Atlas dropped the act. The voice changed, the charm vanished, and the truth came out. Atlas was just a mask. He was Frank Fontaine all along, alive, cunning, and finally in control. Everything Jack had done, every step he'd taken, had been part of Fontaine's plan to kill Ryan and seize Rapture's remaining power. But Fontaine underestimated one thing: the humanity left in the monsters he created. Dr. Tenenbaum, haunted by her work with the Little Sisters, rescued Jack from Fontaine's control. She broke his conditioning, taught him how to resist the phrase, and helped him see Rapture for what it truly was: a cage built from freedom. Jack turned against Fontaine, gathering Adam, rescuing Little Sisters, and slowly reclaiming the city from its chaos. Fontaine, in a final act of madness, injected himself with so much Adam that he became barely human, a hulking, glowing monstrosity that burned with raw power. The final confrontation wasn't just a fight between two men, it was the collapse of Rapture itself, the city's ideology tearing itself apart. Fontaine represented greed, addiction, and control. Jack, the engineered slave, represented what was left of free will. When Fontaine fell, Rapture didn't get a happy ending. The survivors were ghosts. The city, flooded and broken, sank deeper into the sea, its grand halls now filled with silence and the occasional whisper of a little sister's lullaby. Depending on what Jack did, saving or harvesting the little sisters, the story ended differently. In one version, he became their protector, bringing them to the surface and giving them the chance to live normal lives. In another, he gave in to his conditioning, taking control of Rapture's power and becoming just another tyrant in a long chain of them. But no matter the ending, Rapture was gone. The dream was dead, drowned in salt water and regret. Still, the echoes of the city didn't vanish completely. Years later, in BioShock 2, we return to Rapture through the eyes of a Big Daddy, a prototype named Subject Delta, searching for his little sister, Eleanor Lamb. And in Burial at Sea, we learn how the events of Columbia, the floating city from BioShock Infinite, tie back to Rapture itself, proving that no matter how far humanity runs, it always builds new cages for itself. Rapture remains one of gaming's most powerful symbols, a city that tried to escape the flaws of mankind and ended up amplifying them. It's a warning, not just about politics or science, but about what happens when belief turns into obsession. Andrew Ryan thought he could build heaven at the bottom of the ocean. All he built was a mirror. If you enjoyed this dive into BioShock, hit like, subscribe, and stick around. We've got plenty more worlds to uncover beneath the surface.